is considered the biggest disappointment in USA basketball
history.
Wait, we all know the story about this team. This was not the best representation of what the NBA had to offer from its USA-born players. So what if they did it right? What if everyone were eligible to play that summer? Could this have been the Dream Team Part 3? Could it have been better than the original Dream Team? Let's put our GM hats on and try to reconstruct the 2004 Olympic team. Before we do that, we must address the elephant in the room. Just like the 1992 team needed to figure out if they could put Michael Jordan and Isaiah Thomas on the same team, we must figure out if we could put Shaq and Kobe on the same team. The 2004 Olympic Games would have occurred a little after the public breakup of this iconic duo. They were done playing with each other. Would it be reasonable to expect that they would put their differences aside to play with each other one last time? Well, consider this. This team would have been constructed years before the start of the Olympic Games. They were on much better terms in 2002 and 2003. There would have been no problems with them agreeing to play with each other during that time. But would they back out after such a bitter end to the 2004 season? Well, that could be the very reason why they would play with each other. I doubt that they felt good about the way that era ended. Everybody wants to leave on top. And this would be their chance to officially end it with a gold medal, and then they could go back to hating each other. For the sake of this discussion, let's just say that they agreed to tolerate each other for one last summer. If I'm building this team, I want the two players who led the Lakers to 3 titles and 4 finals appearances in the last 5 seasons. This is arguably the most dominant duo in NBA history. They are even more dangerous when they're motivated and angry. There's no question that they were fuming after being humiliated by the Detroit Pistons in the finals. This would be their chance to take their anger out on the rest of the world. They were good enough to lead a team to multiple titles surrounded by a bunch of role players. Imagine what they could accomplish if you surround them with the league's best players. This is one advantage that none of the other USA Olympic teams had. Now you want to properly build a team around this core. For the point guard, we're going to go with Jason Kidd. He just came off a season where he led the league in assists for the 5th time of his career. This team will have a variety of scores, and we need someone who can get everyone involved. At the time, there was nobody who was a better floor general. He was spectacular in the fast break, and he knew how to run an efficient half-court offense. On top of that, he was selected to the All-NBA second-team defense in 2004. He is somebody who's going to help with creating turnovers and grabbing rebounds. He does whatever is necessary to win. In fact, people forget that it was the New Jersey Nets that gave the Detroit Pistons the toughest time in the playoffs. It took them 7 games to beat this team in the semifinals. That's how dangerous a player he was. At small forward, we're going to go with Tracy McGrady. He was one of the 3 best individual talents in the game. For the 2nd consecutive season, he led the league in scoring. This was also the year that he had the best game of his Hall of Fame career. He posted 62 points on 54% shooting, 10 rebounds and 5 assists against the Washington Wizards. He also had a 51-point performance earlier in the season against the Denver Nuggets, as well as 6 additional 40-point games. No one else in the league had more than 3 40-point games. However, it's fair to say that his stock was at an all-time low after being accused of quitting on his team. There are still Magic fans who haven't forgiven him for the way his tenure ended with the organization. It was obvious that he was frustrated with Grant Hill's constant injury problems and the lack of help he had, but he will be given the opportunity to ball out on a team full of Hall of Fame level talent. At power forward, we're going to tell Tim Duncan that he can stay with the team. Kobe Bryant, T-Mac, and Shaq are going to provide plenty of scoring. Therefore, Duncan would have no problems scoring when needed and focusing most of his attention on defense. That is what he did best, and he was the anchor for a historically dominant defensive team. The 2004 San Antonio Spurs currently hold the 3rd best opponent's field goal percentage, the 4th best opponent's points per game, and the 5th best defensive rating ever. That allowed Tim Duncan to record the 6th best defensive rating for a single season. The numbers indicate that he gave the best Bill Russell impression that we've ever seen from a modern player. For a team full of superstars, that's exactly the style of player that they need to bring it all together. So this will be the starting 5. Jason Kidd, Kobe Bryant, Tracy McGrady, Tim Duncan, and Shaquille O'Neal. we have size, versatility, and plenty of capable scorers. We want to continue this trend with our bench. The backup point guard should be Allen Iverson. He is a player who's going to provide instant offense. In 2004, he gave the Atlanta Hawks a 50-piece while nearly shooting over 60% from the field. He also proved that he was capable of getting others involved. He had 8 games where he posted over 10 assists, and for the next 2 seasons with the Sixers, he was handed the point guard duties. Although he was naturally a shooting guard, he is talented enough to be an effective floor general when Jason Kidd is resting. He also gets the luxury of playing with so many great one-on-one scorers. He won't face nearly as many double teams as he had with the Sixers. One can only imagine the damage he will cause to the opposing team's second unit. The backup shooting guard will be Ray Allen. Every great team needs at least one dead-eye shooter. Ray Allen was the best shooter in the world during this era. We saw how valuable he was while playing with a super team in Boston. He's going to help spread the floor, and there is no one that you would trust more to knock those open looks down than him. But this is Ray Allen at the peak of his powers. He is more than capable of taking over a game when needed. He had 3 40-point games that season, the same amount as Kobe and Iverson. I would suspect that he will be utilized a lot to help open the floor for everyone else. The backup small forward will be Paul Pierce. From a talent perspective, he can provide the same things as Kobe and McGrady can. He is a phenomenal one-on-one scorer. He is an underrated rebounder and playmaker, and he is more than capable of playing lockdown defense when needed. It's not as pretty as the other 2 players, but he'll get you the same result. If you look at his numbers, his field goal percentage took quite a dip, as many others did during this season. The level at which teams were playing defense was at an all-time high, and the league would soon make changes to rectify that. But the international play is much more free-flowing, which will make it easier for this team to be more efficient. On top of that, players such as Pierce, Iverson, and McGrady were stuck being the only scoring option for their team. They were frustrated with their team situation and the constant double and triple teams they would face. We can't underestimate how much more inspired they'll perform while playing with so many legendary players. I believe Pierce would also excel in this environment. The backup power forward will be Kevin Garnett, the reigning MVP. The numbers indicate he had the best individual season from a power forward ever. He was at his apex. He averaged 24.2 points on 50% shooting, 13.9 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2.2 blocks per game. Just for context, only Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has been able to match that stat line throughout all of history, and he only did it once. The impact that he provided on both ends of the court was historic. You can make the case that we've never seen anyone more versatile at any point in history. He proved how dangerous a player he can be when given the right pieces around him. Speaking of which, you must have noticed that the big 3 of the 2008 Boston Celtics is just sitting on the bench, the team that won 66 games. The difference is that they're all at the peak of their powers. Imagine, you have Jason Kidd who can play Rajon Rondo's role and put any big man that you want at the 5 position. That would be a dangerous lineup for any team. For the backup center, I believe Ben Wallace would be the perfect player to choose. We already have 8 incredibly skillful scorers. Adding another would be unnecessary. It would cause more harm than good. It's time to select players who will do the dirty work. So why not pick the player who just wants to dunk and play his heart out on defense? He just came off winning a championship. Although he didn't win the Finals MVP, there is no question that he was the heart and soul of that team. You can make the case that this is the best season from a defensive standpoint by any player in the modern NBA. He earned a 9.1 defensive win shares, which is the most since the merger. We all know him for being a legendary shot blocker and rebounder, but he was also known for being one of the best off-the-ball defenders that you'll ever witness. He can disrupt an offense no matter who he's guarding or where he's positioned. If this team is ever looking for a stop, Big Ben can almost guarantee you that he'll shut anyone down. There's one more NBA player that we can select. I believe the player that we pick needs to represent this era of the NBA. The league was dominated by defense and physicality. We want this team to have that identity. This may be controversial, but I believe Ron Artest is the right choice. He was in fact the winner of the Defensive Player of the Year award. This dude was like a linebacker. He was so physically imposing. He was going to punish you and make things extremely difficult. And on offense, he had the quickness of a guard and the strength to post up just about anyone. He was one of the top two-way players in the league. And can you imagine him sharing the floor with Ben Wallace? If this team is ever looking for a stop, those two will guarantee to shut down any and every one. The rookie can be Emeka Okafor, who have plenty of moments to shine during garbage time. This is a 12-man roster, a huge upgrade from what we got that summer. Would this have been the greatest Olympic team ever? Offensively, we've seen better teams, but defensively, they would have a strong argument to take that crown. They would have the size and athleticism to take on any team. But what about you all? Do you think this team would have a shot at beating any of the past Olympic teams? How would you reconstruct the 2004 team? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.